It's been about 6 weeks since my father passed. I know a lot of my listeners and a lot of people were kind of waiting for me to release a podcast, do something, and I haven't really known what to do. Um, I wasn't, work and podcasting and doing any of that. That's not been my priority. My head's really been at like, okay, taking care of the family and my kids and trying to just come to, I don't know, just find a way to digest what's kind of happened. So my father passed away in England.
On July 22, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne, the voice of Black Sabbath and the renowned Prince of Darkness, passed away at his Buckinghamshire, England home. One of the most amazing and unpredictable trips in music history came to an end when he passed, away at the age of 76. A heart attack, more precisely, an acute myocardial infarction followed by cardiac arrest, was listed as the official cause of death. His decline was further influenced by complications from Parkinson's disease and coronary artery disease. Although it ended quietly, the revelation shook millions of fans around the world and sent shockwaves through the music business as a whole. Ozzy had given his admirers one last present just a few weeks before he passed away. Birmingham, the city, where Black Sabbath was founded decades prior, hosted the Back to the Beginning farewell event on July 5th. The performance turned into a historical event, a final opportunity to witness Ozzy performing at his peak. He performed with the vigor and charisma that characterized his career, despite his deteriorating health. His presence exuded defiance, his voice had the same raw edge, and the arena was filled with love from the audience. In retrospect, it was more than just a show. It was a farewell ritual for a man who personified heavy metal and carried its ethos all the way to the end. The days that followed were a time of profound suffering for his family. Later, Jack Osbourne, his son, shared how he first found out about his father's death. Jack remembered being awakened by a knock on his door at approximately 3:45 a.m. in the early hours of the morning in Los Angeles. Outside stood a longtime family employee. Jack claimed that as soon as he saw his face through the window, he realized that something was seriously up. The news hit him like a ton of bricks when the words arrived, confirming his father's death. Jack characterized it as a heartbreaking, disbelieving, and depressing moment. But because his father had been fighting Parkinson's disease and other health issues for so long, there was also a sense of relief mixed with the sadness. In the midst of the sorrow, there was some solace in the knowledge that Ozzy was no longer in torment. Jack immediately took a plane to England so he could be with his family. The world was already in grief when he got there. Ozzy's passing had made news on every continent, and fans of all ages, celebrities, and other musicians were paying their respects. Jack said the feedback was both overwhelming and affirming. It made him realize how remarkable his father's life had been, and how much his millions of admirers adored him, despite never having met him. The Osbourne family found strength in that worldwide embrace, as they dealt with the death of the man who had served as both their father and a global symbol. Jack also related a memory that has deep significance now. The family had originally intended to go to Portugal earlier in the summer, but the vacation was postponed because of illness. Rather, they stayed in Ozzy's house in England for extra time. It appeared to be a minor alteration to the original designs at the time. In retrospect, Jack now values those times as priceless. His last priceless memories of his father before his death were the talks, the giggles, the dinners, and even the silent times. Jack's recollection of Ozzy's final chapter will always include that unanticipated gift of time. Every member of the Osbourne family handled the loss differently. His daughter, Kelly Osbourne, talked openly about her suffering. She acknowledged that she would not be all right for a long time and referred to it as the most difficult time of her life. However, she also took solace in the affection that poured in from fans who wanted to express how much Ozzy's music meant to them. Even during her darkest moments, Kelly found solace in the shared sorrow and memory. Louis and Jessica, his older children, paid their respects in a more subdued but no less earnest manner. Louis switched his social media profile photo to a plain, black square, which is a quiet yet potent way to express grief. Jessica posted a black and white picture of her father, along with his iconic song Crazy Train, serving as a reminder that even though he was no longer with her, his music will always be heard. The city where Ozzy's tale started, Birmingham, offered him a royal farewell. A funeral cortege passed his childhood home on July 30th after starting at Villa Park and making its way through the city. It stopped at the Black Sabbath Bridge along the way, where fans had left a sea of candles, flowers, and handwritten tributes. Thousands of admirers gathered to bid farewell as the procession proceeded through the center of the city. Many stood in silence. Some raised their hands in tribute, and yet others wept aloud, clinging to the music that had shaped so much of their lives. The city and its residents came together to pay their respects to one of their own, and it was a collective farewell. The following day, Ozzy's family and closest friends attended a private burial at his estate, where he was buried next to a serene lake. Legendary figures from the music industry, including Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, James Hetfield, Zakk Wylde, Elton John, and his Black Sabbath colleagues, were present at the event. They bid farewell to a guy who had inspired them as much as he had influenced them. The core of British tradition provided one of the most distinctive and poignant tributes. The band of the Coldstream Guards played Black Sabbath's classic hit song Paranoid during the Buckingham Palace changing of the Guards. That song's reverberating tone throughout the ancient grounds served as a reminder that Ozzy was more than just a rock star. He was a cultural icon interwoven with history, in a way that words alone could never express. Seeing a heavy metal song played in such a formal setting encapsulated the scope of his legacy. While the mourning continues, the story of Ozzy Osbourne is far from over. His legacy lives on through the music that redefined an entire genre. As the frontman of Black Sabbath, he helped invent heavy metal, pushing boundaries with dark riffs, haunting vocals, and an attitude that set the standard for generations of rock musicians. He was known as the Godfather of heavy metal, a title he wore proudly. His influence stretched far beyond music. With the reality show The Osbournes, he invited the world into his chaotic, funny, and loving family life. The show broke new ground and opened the door for countless other celebrity reality programs. It showed a different side of the rock legend and created a cultural shift in how fame and family were portrayed on television. Even as his health deteriorated, Ozzy never stopped creating. On February 14, 2025, he released what would be his final studio recording, an orchestral collaboration with Billy Morrison titled Gods of Rock and Roll. It stands now as the closing chapter of his creative output, a reminder that even in his final years, his passion for music never dimmed. Fans have embraced the song as a final gift, one last piece of art from a man whose career spanned more than 50 years. Ozzy Osbourne's death marks the end of an era, but his presence remains everywhere. In the roar of a guitar riff, in the voices of bands he inspired, in the stories told by those who knew him, and in the memories of millions who saw him on stage or grew up with his music. His life was filled with extremes, triumphs and scandals, struggles and victories, but through it all, he remained unapologetically himself. That authenticity, combined with his unique talent, is why he will always be remembered as more than just a musician. He was a cultural icon, a pioneer, and for his family, a husband and father whose absence will always be felt. The world may have lost Ozzy Osbourne, but his shadow looms large over music and culture. His songs will continue to play, his image will continue to inspire, and his legacy will continue to grow. For those who loved him, whether family, friends, or fans, the grief may never fully fade, but neither will the joy he brought into their lives. Ozzy's story is one of resilience, creativity, and fearless individuality. And though the man is gone, the legend of the Prince of Darkness will live forever.